Hey, what's up, Vogue? This is Troye Sivan. I am in my parents' house in Melbourne, Australia, and I am very, very nervous right now because I'm about to have a conversation with one of my all-time heroes, Peter Staley. Peter is a HIV/AIDS activist from New York City. He was a huge part of the ACT UP movement in the late 80s and early 90s. They saved literally millions of lives and made incredible progress during the HIV/AIDS crisis. And I'm about to talk to him. So, I'm shitting myself, but let's do this. Hey Peter, how's it going?
Well, I have a cat about to enter the picture.
Nice.
Troy, how are you down under?
I'm very good, thank you. I am very, very excited and actually kind of sweaty to be talking to you because I have looked up to you for a very long time. And this is just a very, very cool moment for me. So thank you for hopping on here.
I've got a lot of friends who are very jealous right now. So.
Really? Okay, good. Tell them I say hi.
Major Troy fans.
I think the first time I became aware of your work was when I watched How to Survive a Plague. And not to sound like crazy dramatic, I genuinely feel like that documentary and that story and your story changed my life and kind of like changed the trajectory that I want to be on.
I think the first time I heard about you was your youth video. And the reason it got so shared, here you were rolling around in bed with this cute blonde kid, that's what I remember. And prior to that, the kind of boy band pop stars that came all the years earlier, they wouldn't start out, you know? From the get-go, you were yourself, and that in and of itself was a news item.
Hey, what's up you guys, it's Troye Sivan, and this is probably the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life, but I'm going to deal with it because I have something to tell you guys. I want you guys to know that I'm gay. This is not something that I'm ashamed of, and it's not something that anyone should have to be ashamed of, so why not share it with all of you guys?
That was by design because I was already out to my family and my friends in my real life at that point, and I was about to get signed to my record label and I was petrified that I was going to be outed and then, you know, have like the rug pulled out from under my feet. And I was, you know, thinking to myself, this is so something that I'm not like ashamed of. It's actually something that I am quite proud of. And, you know, it's just a part of me. And so, I kind of wanted to intentionally take control of that narrative and take back that power from anybody else so that at least if I'm going to do it, you know, it's on my own terms.
And then it was only a few months later that you watched How to Survive a Plague and started speaking out after that. And I noticed, I kept seeing these news reports and of you talking about the history of AIDS, and it reminded me of when I did the same when I first started my activism, and I didn't know anything that had come before, and I was like 26 at the time, and somebody told me to watch this new documentary that had won the Oscar called The Times of Harvey Milk. My life got changed by watching that documentary.
I've got a couple photos here. Peter, I would love to know your take on them.
Sure.
Here we see you on vacation in Amsterdam in 1985.
I was falling in love with a young Dutchman there on the right. And then a few months after that, he was visiting me in the States, and that's when I found out I was HIV positive, and everything got very serious after that. I got lucky with my timing because about a little over a year later, this movement was started, ACT UP. Their first demonstration was on Wall Street, and I got handed a flyer on my way to work.
No way.
And it gave me so much hope to see this community begin to act up about this illness that was very likely going to kill me soon. So I got to the next meeting and my whole life changed from there.
I decided to become a full-time AIDS activist.
So here we see you on the roof of the FDA at the very famous 1988 FDA protest that you guys did.
Yeah, the FDA demo was probably the most famous demo that ACT UP did. We surrounded the headquarters in 1988, and it was kind of our national coming out as a movement. All the ACT UP chapters converged on the headquarters, And we were the lead news story that night on all the networks. My friends clasped their hands together. I put my foot in their hands and they launched me up to that awning where I could hang the Silence Equals Death banner. Everybody just exploded with joy, and it got the demonstration going. So it was a very cool moment for me.
Wow. It's like the most badass photo I've ever seen in my entire life. Interestingly, when I watch the footage of you guys back then, there was this like unbelievable, what seemed like fearlessness. I think about that clip of you on that TV show Crossfire, right? You know, you're standing up to these like two older white straight men, and you're so much younger than them, and really, really standing your ground.
There are 140 drugs out there that the FDA has identified as possibilities and are in some stage of being looked at right now.
Why are they holding back?
Among that 140, there's got to be one or a combination thereof that can slow down this virus or halt it in its tracks.
I didn't know if I had a year or 2 years or maybe a little more. So for me, it was like, it's just all in, all in. How are you viewing, you know, your voice now that you look back at this history and you started speaking out about it publicly? Because you have spoken out, and I know it can be a kind of a dangerous territory to walk through as an artist.
You say it's dangerous, but honestly, not really. And I attribute that to the work of the people who came before me. When I came out, I didn't know any LGBT people. I didn't have anyone that I could kind of see myself in my own personal life. You know, I remember the very first time I saw like two men kissing on TV. And, you know, I remember the first time I met a gay person in real life. I want to try and create those moments on a big scale, that somebody's like flicking through channels and they catch one of my music videos or something like that, and just kind of remind everyone how beautiful it all is. My goal has been to just be kind of as like loud and proud as possible, and create these really, really safe spaces at my shows where donating a portion of ticket sales to LGBT charities, while also like getting the audience to bring socks and scarves to donate to like LGBT homeless shelters, while also just creating an amazing vibe in whatever venue I'm playing, where people can come exactly as they are, and just for that hour and a half or whatever it is, kind of completely do away with any of the stresses that following them in their life.
I hope I get to come to one of your shows at some point.
You have to, yeah, it'll be so fun. That'll be awesome. What can we still be doing today in the fight against HIV/AIDS?
Well, the sad thing is a lot of people think it's over, and it's still spreading. There's still 1.5 million deaths around the world every year, almost an equal number of infections, which is obscene and shouldn't be happening. But the good news is that we have medical tools now that could actually wind all that down. It turned out 100% effective for Truvada PrEP. It's like a miracle drug. And so just getting that message out, telling them about PrEP, that's been a lot of the work we've been doing over the last 5 years.
PrEP is something that I would love to learn more about. It kind of feels like a real unbelievable achievement and a miracle that this has happened. And so, you know, any contraction of the virus or any death from the virus just feels so unnecessary at this point. And so that's something that I would really want to work on in the future.
Yeah, well, let's work on that together.
I see the work that you and the rest of ACT UP did, and so many others did, and like the LGBTQ people that came before me did, so that I can just have this absolute breeze of a life. And I just feel so like inspired and indebted forever to all of you. And thank you, I guess, is like the biggest thing. Thank you.
For me, activism is about acting on empathy. So just keep tapping into that empathy and speaking out, using your platform. It is all about community. We're in this arc of history, and it's a beautiful thing, and your generation will just carry that work forward. So thanks.
Good luck, and just thank you so much again.
Great meeting you, Troye.
Nice to meet you. Enjoy the rest of your morning.
I can't wait to see you in concert.
Thank you very much.